Welcome to your deep dive into the power of positive thinking. We'll be exploring what it is, why it matters, and how you can actually use it to make positive changes in your life.
And knowing your love for learning, we'll make sure this is a thorough exploration. We'll be uncovering some surprising benefits of positive thinking that go way beyond just feeling good. Think mental clarity, resilience, even physical health.
Okay, so let's start with the basics. What exactly is positive thinking? I feel like it's one of those things that's easy to misunderstand or oversimplify.
Absolutely. Positive thinking isn't about ignoring problems or pretending everything is perfect. It's not about forcing a smile when you're feeling down. It's about approaching situations with a constructive mindset, focusing on solutions and possibilities, and using challenges as opportunities for growth.
So it's more about how you respond to things, rather than just trying to be happy all the time.
Exactly. It's about making a conscious choice to focus on the good, even when things are tough. And the amazing thing is, this is a skill you can develop, just like learning a new language or playing an instrument.
That's interesting. So it's not just about being born an optimist. Anyone can learn to think more positively.
Absolutely. It's about training your brain to focus on the positive. And like any skill, the more you practice, the better you become.
I'm already starting to see how this could be beneficial. But let's dive into the specifics. Why does positive thinking matter so much? What are the real, tangible benefits?
Well, for starters, there's a strong link between positive thinking and reduced anxiety and depression. When we focus on the positive, our brains release those feel-good chemicals, like serotonin and dopamine, the ones that help regulate mood and manage stress.
So it's not just about feeling good in the moment. It actually has a real impact on our brain chemistry.
Precisely. And what's even more fascinating is that positive thinking doesn't just benefit our minds, it also has a positive impact on our physical health.
Wow. I didn't realize there was a connection there. Tell me more about that.
Studies have shown that people with a more positive outlook tend to have lower blood pressure, stronger immune systems, and even a reduced risk of heart disease. And one of the key factors here is stress reduction. Positive thinking helps you manage stress more effectively, which in turn protects your physical well-being.
So it's about building resilience, that ability to bounce back from setbacks and challenges, which I know is so important for someone like you who's always learning and growing. But I have to admit, I've always been a bit skeptical about the whole positive thinking thing. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking it's just about ignoring reality.
I understand that skepticism, and it's important to address those common myths. Positive thinking isn't about denying reality or pretending problems don't exist. It's about acknowledging the situation, but choosing to approach it with a hopeful and solution-oriented lens.
So it's not about living in a fantasy world. It's about equipping yourself to navigate the real world more effectively.
Exactly. It's about focusing on what you can control, finding solutions, and learning from your experiences, even the tough ones. And another myth I often encounter is that some people are just naturally positive, while others are doomed to be negative. But, as we'd established, positivity is a skill, not an innate trait.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. It takes the pressure off feeling like you have to be naturally optimistic to reap the benefits.
Exactly. Anyone can train their brain to focus on the positive, regardless of their starting points, like building a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets.
I love that analogy. It makes it feel much more achievable. So we've busted the myth about ignoring reality and the one about some people being naturally positive. Is there another common misconception you hear about positive thinking?
One more big one is that positive thinking is just wishful thinking, that it's passive and doesn't require any action. But that's not true at all. True positive thinking is about pairing that hopeful outlook with concrete action.
So it's about aligning your mindset with your actions. It's not enough to just think positive thoughts. You have to actually put those thoughts into motion.
Right. Absolutely. It's a dynamic duo. Positive thinking fuels action, and action reinforces positive thinking. It's a powerful cycle that can lead to real, tangible change.
That's incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
This is all great in theory, but I'm sure our listener is eager to hear about how they can actually start cultivating more positivity in their daily life.
Of course. Let's dive into some practical tips. One of the simplest yet most effective techniques is keeping a gratitude journal. The act of regularly reflecting on what you're thankful for can be incredibly transformative.
I've heard so many people rave about gratitude journals, but I've always been curious about the science behind it. How does simply writing down things you're grateful for actually lead to positive changes?
That's a great question. Gratitude journaling actually has a profound impact on your brain chemistry. When you focus on gratitude, your brain releases dopamine and serotonin, those feel-good chemicals we talked about earlier. So it's not just about acknowledging the good things in your life, it's about actually training your brain to experience more joy and contentment.
That's fascinating. So it's like a positive feedback loop. The more you practice gratitude, the more your brain gets wired for happiness. Do you have any tips for making gratitude journaling a sustainable habit?
Consistency is key. Try setting aside just a few minutes each day, maybe first thing in the morning or right before bed, to jot down 3 things you're grateful for.
3 things. That seems doable. But do they have to be big? Life-changing things. I worry I'll run out of things to be grateful for.
Not at all. They can be small, everyday things, the warmth of the sun on your skin, a delicious cup of coffee, a kind gesture from a stranger, a moment of laughter with a friend, even focusing on sensory experiences. The taste of your favorite meal, the sound of birds singing, the feel of a soft blanket can bring a sense of appreciation to the everyday moments.
Those are great tips. It's so easy to get caught up in the hustle and bustle and forget to appreciate those small joys that sprinkle our days with beauty. What are some other techniques for rewiring our brains towards positivity?
Another powerful technique is reframing negative thoughts. It's about catching yourself when you're spiraling into negativity and consciously choosing to shift your perspective.
Can you give a concrete example of how that might work in real life?
Let's say you make a mistake at work and you find yourself thinking, I'm so stupid, I always mess things up. That's a classic negative thought pattern. But with reframing, you can turn that around and say, okay, I made a mistake, but everyone makes mistakes. I'm going to learn from this and do better next time. It's about acknowledging the situation, but shifting the focus to your ability to grow and improve.
I see how that subtle shift in language can make a big difference in how you feel about the situation.
Yeah.
Instead of beating yourself up, you're using it as an opportunity for growth. It feels more empowering.
Exactly. And what's remarkable is that neuroscience actually backs this up. When you consistently practice reframing, you're literally changing the neural pathways in your brain, making it easier to default to those positive thought patterns over time. And speaking of rewiring our brains, another powerful tool for cultivating positivity is mindfulness meditation.
Mindfulness is something I've been meaning to explore more. But to be honest, I often feel intimidated by the whole idea of meditation. Do you have any advice for beginners?
Absolutely. The key is to start small and be patient with yourself. Even just 5 minutes a day can make a difference. Find a quiet spot where you can sit or lie down comfortably. Close your eyes and focus on your breath. Notice the rise and fall of your chest, the gentle flow of air in and out of your nostrils. If your mind wanders, that's perfectly okay. Just gently guide it back to your breath. There's no right or wrong way to do it. It's simply about creating space for stillness and self-awareness.
That's reassuring to hear. I think what's held me back in the past is the pressure to do it perfectly, but it sounds like it's more about the process itself, not about achieving some kind of meditative bliss.
Exactly. It's a journey, not a destination. And the more you practice, the easier it becomes to quiet your mind, be present in the moment, and cultivate a sense of inner peace. And that inner peace is a powerful foundation for positive thinking.
It makes sense that when you're feeling grounded and centered, it's easier to navigate the ups and downs of life with grace and resilience.
Precisely. Mindfulness helps you cultivate a sense of detachment from your thoughts and emotions, allowing you to observe them without judgment and choose how you want to respond.
This has been so insightful. We've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive. We've explored the science behind positive thinking, debunked common myths, and learned some practical techniques like gratitude journaling, reframing negative thoughts, and mindfulness meditation. But there's so much more to explore.
There is in part 2. We'll dive into the importance of surrounding yourself with positive influences, explore the power of self-compassion, and uncover how positive thinking can actually create a ripple effect that impacts the world around you.
I'm already looking forward to it. Until then, keep practicing those positive thinking skills. And we'll see you soon for part 2 of this exciting deep dive. Welcome back. In the first part of our deep dive, we really dug into the nuts and bolts of positive thinking. We talked about what it is, the science behind it, and even some practical techniques like gratitude journaling and mindfulness. Now I'm excited to explore the idea of positive thinking as a ripple effect, impacting not just ourselves, but the people around us.
It's fascinating how interconnected we all are. Our energy, our attitude, they really do have a way of influencing those around us. It's like tossing a pebble into a pond, creating those expanding circles of energy.
Okay, so before we dive into that ripple effect, let's pick up where we left off. We were about to explore the importance of surrounding yourself with positive influences. I've definitely noticed how spending time with certain people leaves me feeling energized and uplifted, while others can drain my energy.
It's true. And it's not about seeking out people who are constantly happy or pretending that life is always perfect. It's about surrounding yourself with people who are supportive, encouraging, and who lift you up. People who approach challenges with a sense of optimism and a can-do spirit.
I love that. It's about being around people who inspire you to be your best self. And for our listener, who's always eager to learn and grow, I can see how being around positive people could open up new perspectives and even new ways of thinking.
Absolutely. It's like expanding your mental toolkit for navigating life's ups and downs. And speaking of navigating challenges, another crucial aspect of cultivating positivity is practicing self-compassion.
That's such an important point. It's so easy to be hard on ourselves,
Mm.
especially when we make mistakes or things don't go as planned.
It's true. And for someone like you, who's driven and focused on growth, it's important to remember that setbacks are inevitable. They're part of the learning process, and they don't diminish your worth or your abilities. Self-compassion is about treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer a close friend.
It's like being your own best cheerleader instead of your own worst critic. I think this ties back to resilience as well. The more self-compassion we have, the easier it is to bounce back from those inevitable setbacks.
Exactly. Self-compassion allows you to acknowledge your mistakes and imperfections without letting them define you. It's about giving yourself permission to be human. And now, let's talk about that ripple effect we mentioned earlier.
Okay, I'm really intrigued by this. Tell me more about how our positive thinking can actually impact those around us.
Think about it. When you're in a positive state of mind, you're more likely to be patient, understanding, and helpful towards others. You approach interactions with a sense of warmth and generosity. And that energy, it's contagious.
It's like we're radiating positive vibes that can actually lift the spirits of those around us.
Exactly. It's like a chain reaction of kindness and goodwill. And for someone like you, who I imagine often takes on roles of leadership, mentorship, or sharing knowledge with others, this ripple effect can be especially powerful.
Wow, I've never thought about it that way. So by cultivating positivity within ourselves, we're not just improving our own lives, we're actually contributing to a more positive and supportive world around us.
Precisely. Imagine the positive influence you can have on your colleagues, your team, your family, your community, simply by approaching interactions with a positive and supportive attitude. You can inspire those around you to see the good, to embrace challenges, and to believe in their own potential.
That's incredibly inspiring. It makes you realize that we all have the power to make a difference, not just through grand gestures, but through those everyday interactions
Yeah.
and the energy we bring to them.
Absolutely. And remember, the ripple effect works both ways. When you surround yourself with positive people, their energy and outlook on life can also influence you, creating a beautiful cycle of upliftment and support.
So it's a two-way street. We're both influencing and being influenced by the energy of those around us. That's a powerful reminder to be mindful of the company we keep and the energy we choose to cultivate within ourselves.
Exactly. And remember, cultivating positivity is an ongoing practice. It's not about being positive all the time. It's about making a conscious effort to focus on the good, to reframe negative thoughts, and to approach challenges with a sense of hope and possibility.
This has been such a thought-provoking conversation. We've really expanded on our understanding of positive thinking. We've moved beyond the individual benefits and explored how it can actually ripple outwards, impacting those around us and creating a more positive world. What an incredible journey.
It has been a fascinating exploration, and in our final part, we'll bring everything together and leave you with some practical takeaways and actionable steps you can take to cultivate more positivity in your life.
Welcome back to our final part of this deep dive into positive thinking. We've explored the science behind it, busted some myths, and discovered how it can impact not only our own well-being, but also the lives of those around us.
It's been a really engaging journey. And now, as promised, we'll leave you with some more actionable tips to help you weave positive thinking into your everyday life.
Perfect. I'm ready for some more tools to add to my positivity toolkit. We've already covered gratitude journaling, reframing negative thoughts, and mindfulness meditation. What else can our listener do to cultivate a more positive outlook?
One practice I find incredibly powerful is starting each day with a positive affirmation. It's like setting the tone for your day, a little pep talk for your mind, to remind yourself of your strengths and potential.
That sounds like a great way to start the day on the right foot. Do you have any favorite affirmations you could share? I'm always looking for new ones to try.
Absolutely. One of my go-to affirmations is, I am capable of achieving anything I set my mind to. It's simple, but so empowering. It reminds you of your inner strength and potential. Another one I love is, today is a new day filled with endless possibilities. It helps you approach each day with a sense of optimism and excitement, ready to embrace whatever comes your way.
Those are great. I can already feel a shift in my mindset just hearing them. It's amazing how powerful words can be.
It's true. The language we use, both internally and externally, has a profound impact on our thoughts and feelings. And on that note, another tip I highly recommend is to be mindful of the information you're consuming.
That's an interesting point. I've definitely noticed how reading negative news or scrolling through social media can leave me feeling drained and anxious.
Exactly. It's important to be aware of the information you're exposing yourself to and to make conscious choices about what you're letting into your mental space. You might find it helpful to limit your exposure to negative news, curate your social media feeds to follow more uplifting accounts, or even just take regular breaks from technology to recharge and reconnect with yourself.
Those are all great tips. It's so easy to get swept up in the constant stream of information and negativity, especially in today's world. But it sounds like being more mindful of what we consume, both online and offline, can make a big difference in our overall outlook.
Absolutely. It's about creating a more positive and supportive environment for your mind to thrive. And remember, cultivating positivity is a journey, not a destination. It's not about being positive all the time, but about making a conscious effort to focus on the good, to reframe negative thoughts, and to approach challenges with a sense of hope and resilience.
This deep dive has been so insightful and empowering. We've covered so much ground, from the science behind positive thinking to practical tips for incorporating it into our daily lives. It's amazing how something as simple as shifting our mindset can have such a profound impact on our well-being and even our ability to create positive change in the world.
It's been a pleasure exploring this with you. Remember, positivity is a choice we make every day, and it's a choice that has the power to transform not only our own lives, but also the lives of those around us.
Beautifully said.
Yeah.
And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive. I hope you feel inspired and equipped to embrace the power of positive thinking and create a brighter, more joyful life for yourself and those around you. Until next time, keep those positive vibes flowing